Welcome to my YouTube page. My name is Paul PvP Perez, and on here I document my life and interests with the hopes of encouraging you to do the same. Bo Burnham's movie, 8th Grade, recently became available on Amazon Prime. I heard it was great, so I decided to watch. 18 minutes into the film, I paused it, grabbed my iPhone, opened the voice memos app, and began recording my thoughts. The main character is Kayla, a young teenage girl in the 8th grade finishing up her final year before going to high school. At the beginning of the film, she's constantly on her phone. She seems isolated and alone. It's kind of sad, but I think this is the reality for many of us. There's a scene when Kayla and her dad are having dinner. Kayla has her headphones on, looking at her cell and paying her dad no mind while he's trying to talk to her, telling her sweet things. How he thinks she is so great because of who she is and her interests, but she doesn't want to hear any of it. When he tries to get her attention, she gets annoyed and lashes out. I've been that person in that same situation with the same reaction. I'd take love given by friends and family for granted. I felt giving affection was a sign of weakness. This is the younger me. Today I know better. I realize the truth is one's shield, and giving regularly of anything, whether that be love, attention, or a small kindness, guarantees that you won't ever be without. This film's portrayal of Kayla's loneliness made me grateful to have a workplace to go to with coworkers to communicate with. There was a period of time I wanted to be a work-from-home entrepreneur. I'm so glad that didn't work out. Not all work situations are created equal. The best case scenario is when you have great people to be around. Worst case is when coworkers seem to be stuck in a rut and aren't happy with their lives and seem to let everyone know about it one way or the other. I'm thankful for the social interaction a job brings. It's a positive factor I hadn't considered until a few years ago. Once again, getting back to the movie, Kayla makes YouTube videos giving advice for a happier life, and I make videos documenting my life and interests with the hopes of encouraging others to do the same, like I said at the top of this episode. We are simply seeking, I would say the character and myself, in terms of my reflecting on this character, and we are simply seeking to connect with anyone who associates with us, so that we don't feel alone beyond our own circle of people that we see regularly. And one would say that with the circle that you may have, whether that be close family and friends, how can you ever feel alone? But at the same token, we also, variety is a basic human need, and we like variety. We like having some kind of new wrinkle in life. So this is what I mean beyond our circle. Continuing, online we are more connected than ever, but this is a false version of the real thing, which is meeting in person, the human connection, which brings that feeling of being a part of a tribe, of belonging. I understand that we can't all get out and be mobile. A phone call is better than a text. Sending a written note is a nice surprise. These are some alternatives that if we can't get outside our house, or maybe we are unable to do so. These are tangible. These, like I said, a phone call or a written note. This is something that one can touch as opposed to kind of just a text, But a text is nice if that's the last, bastion of communication that you can actually do. I'm not downplaying that, but I would say these other methods that I mentioned are a little bit more kind of real, There was an article I found on the Drudge Report. It's from CBS News, and it's titled, "Feeling Lonely? You're Not Alone." And I'm going to read you a few lines from that article. This article is dated on the 10th of 2019, February the 10th, 2019, and I will leave a link for it in the show notes for this episode. Read you for a few of the paragraphs here. An avid musician, John Francis, likes to let his banjo do the talking. And at one point, that was the only talking he did. On his 27th birthday, he decided he had to do something really different, to not speak for an entire day, just a day. But that one day turned into 2 days, and then a week, and then a month. Ultimately, he did not say one word to another human being for 17 years. Moving forward here, he spent those quiet years hiking, camping, and making art. He says he really didn't miss conversation. It wasn't working for him anyway. I would listen just enough to think I knew what someone was gonna say, Francis said, and then I'd stop listening, which in effect cuts communication. That feeling of being disconnected went hand in hand with something bigger, loneliness. I think I was lonely before I started this, and in the sense that I didn't want to be alone with myself, and that makes you lonely, he said. But anyone who feels lonely is far from alone. According to a recent study, nearly half of Americans now say that they sometimes or always feel alone, and 1 in 5 says that they rarely or never feel close to anyone. And I'm going to go ahead and get down to the bottom 2 paragraphs here. Francis started talking again in 1990. This part of his personal journey, he says, was over. I climbed the mountain, and at the bottom of the mountain I was lonely. And on the way up I found that, no, you're not lonely, you're just alone. It just turned into solitude, and solitude was something that you craved, you wanted, you looked for. This is what Francis told himself. Inspired by nature from early on, today at 72, Francis is an environmentalist and an author and a remarkably compelling public speaker. In the article, there is a TED Talk where this gentleman is speaking. The interviewer asks him, do you get lonely today? And he laughs and says, I have a wife and 2 kids, so no, I don't think so. It's sort of the happy ending that all the folks we met would like to see more often. Dr. Murthy said, our social connection is the foundation on which we build healthy and fulfilling lives. Rubel said, I would like people to start to notice how much they need actual connection. We need vitamins, we need vegetables, and we need clean air, and we need connection. That's the final part of that article there. And finishing up, being alone isn't entirely negative. As it was saying in the article, I find for myself that when I'm alone, it's a fantastic time to reflect, to contemplate, and just simply to create. And to do even this podcast work. I like being alone and doing this, actually. So that's when being alone is fantastic for me. But this topic is important to me because I chose to be alone, because of my own childhood issues, but I like it overall in terms of being alone. It's not perfect, as sometimes I long for intimacy and significance that only having a partner can give. But a connection in the end is the opposite of loneliness. And I want to work on getting out and meeting more people when this feeling arises. And I hope you do the same, especially if this resonates with you.